Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So finally I get back to do one more video on my pink jacket. Oh my goodness, it just feels like forever since I've worked on this. The Roxy Journal of Stitchery Volume 6 launched and there was just so much work getting that sorted that the pink jacket just sort of sat to one side, as well as Primitive Rabbit. So today I plan on filming the final video of this and having another stitch on Primitive Rabbit. So for those of you that are following along on those two projects, I do apologise that it has been a bit of a delay to get back here. So let me bring you up to speed. In the last video, I was French knots and I was chatting with Susanna, who was sitting just there, and we were telling childhood stories. So I have since finished the French knots and some little highlight stitches in all of my flowers. Little highlight stitches, just subtle, nothing too over the top. I've worked my way through these sprigs here, putting additional sprigs, just gently meandering around the piece of fabric. So today's video, I just spotted that. I think I could do some little knots there. I need, here, look, sidetracked. Today's video is about the bunny, but I've just spotted that flower there has an opportunity to have a few little knots in it, and I think I want to do that. So let's get those done. I did a combination of colonial knots and French knots. It's sort of whatever I sort of felt like doing, I did, because that's got distinct circles in it. I've even worn my jacket twice. Haven't even finished it, but wore it twice, got lots of compliments, which is always a good thing. Hang on, let me get my hands right. It's always good when someone notices your jacket and says, gee, that's different. Is that a compliment? No, they were lovely. They all were friends and family, so does that count? Probably not. I tell you, these big pieces of fabric to stitch on can be a challenge, getting your hands in to a position. So it can be fiddly, but like this yellow, I feel like I could drift it through all sorts of places. Maybe we take it to the bunny, I don't know. Haven't thought that far. I'm thinking the bunny needs a collar of lace. Hence why you probably saw a heap of tatting sitting to one side and some random bits and pieces. Now remember, on the front of the jacket, I created the little quilted bird, slow stitch quilted bird. And then I've nestled him on a cluster of lacy bits. So that sort of became his base to sit upon, or nest if you will. So I'm thinking of doing, to tie the front to the back, doing a similar thing on the neckline of the bunny. So as I went off to bed last night, I swung in here, grabbed a few supplies, plonked them on the table, and I'm hoping there's a bit of everything there to do something. Then I guess I need to have a look at the bunny image himself and see if there's a place where we can do a little bit of stitching. Would be rather nice. And this yellow suddenly grabbed me and sent me off on a tangent. So I might even come through there later and put a few little yellow. Anyway, we'll put it to one side, the yellow, and I'll just make sure that it's in my little tray of threads. So I've got a tray sitting here. I think that's to do with the winter project. Yeah, that's where I got the yellow from. Okay, let's head to Bunny and see what we can do with him. Got threads everywhere. All right, hello young fella. We can definitely do a little bit of stitching in him, but first let's give him a collar. So what I've got is some lace I picked up at Spotlight, just a birch lace. I try and buy them when they're on special because they are not cheap. Sometimes you can pay up to $14, $15 for a reel of it. Like, it lasts forever, like, you know. But if you can get maybe a buy two, get one free, like, it's definitely worth the effort. So I've got a little bit of tatting. Now, where's the bird? Let me just show you. If you're new and you're like, what is she talking about? The bird. Where is he? Here he is. See Birdie? He got this cluster underneath his bottom. Let me lift up the camera a little bit so you get a better view. See what I mean? So I sort of want to emulate that around Bunny's neck, but probably not to the degree that is. So we've got some tatting. We've got, I found that and I thought, how good is that? And then that piece, and I also picked up some of the bridle to give us maybe a bit of a feature. And let's start with that. We only need a little bit, don't we? And if we don't use it, doesn't matter. Let's just nibble this out. What have we got here? Get rid of that. And that. Just doing a rough fussy cut. I don't mind that there's a heap of netting left behind. I might just leave it at that, because I'd say, oh no, tidy it up a little bit more. Just nibble that out. Be good to have these two projects done, because I've got another idea I need to start. Got two ideas actually, but I won't say anything yet because they're still percolating. There we go. I could probably break that down a little bit, but I don't want that to flip around on me, so I think that's probably enough. All right, so, oh, you fancy bunny. Let's have a look at some tatting. I think we need something fairly fine. That's similar to that, so I'm not going to cut into that. This is something. It's very spacey, but that's okay. Let's just take a little morsel out, and we can always bring it down, and I'm aiming for a solid edge to their tatting here. Whoever was the person that created this, oh my goodness, hats off to you. Tatting's amazing, but fancy not making it. So we've got like a little bridge of strength there that can be stitched, and I like the fact that we've got these little bits hanging. Another piece, not needed, too big. This piece, I like the colour. I believe this was gifted to me, or it was purveyor of textiles and it was in like a little cluster. I think we'll go up his shoulder a little because it picks up on that little bit there. Then we've got this little guy, which softens the whole thing and brings in the white. Don't think I need that curl. Yeah, I'm going to break it down a little more and get rid of that curl. It's too big. Maybe the curl can drop down. Instead of it being in his face, we stitch it in there. No, that doesn't look right. Stitch it in there. That looks better. Still looks a bit much, doesn't it? Take it away. I even think that could go, to be honest. What about this? This caught my eye. Let's just... And then that. Oh, now it's looking more interesting. I know you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, that's too much, but I don't know. I don't mind it. The more detail in there, the better. Just going to cut that off of there. Put that through. And then that over the top underneath his cheek. Now let's have a look at this curl again. Let's break it down a little neater. And maybe it goes back there, up towards his ear. Yes, that's it. That's it. Okay, so let's get some pins into this. Now there's little beads in the centre of those flowers. They need to be stitched as well, because I'd hate for them to come off. So really it'll just be some little invisible stitches meandering through this cluster. I still want bits to flap, so there might be the odd little stitch, but then this will be all loose, so it feels like there's a bit of movement. So that's the plan for the neck. Well, that came together. It's very glamorous. It's over the top. I'm sure some of you are looking at it going, oh, I don't know. But the front is over the top. The stitching is minimal. I would say the print and the background is minimal. But it's these lacy bits that are making him sing. I'll just pull that up a little bit more so we can see that tatting. Pop a pin in. You're a glamorous little boy. See that there? Just going to remove that. And just want to play. Where was those leaves? I trimmed off. I feel like that there is just finished. I sort of feel like we need something there. Oh, I know. Here, look. There's random little flowers here. Do we want just a single flower? Do we want a flower with a bit of a fancy end? Yeah, I think we want that one. This guy here. Bridal lace is seriously the gift that keeps giving. There's quite a few places now online that sell offcuts from the bridal industry. So it'd be worth having a little meander around the internet if you wanted to grab, you know, like a grab bag of, yeah, that just finishes it. Now this little guy potentially could then be used down here. Determined to find a home for it. Tuck it in. Netting catches on itself, so it can be fiddly to get things to sit. So just Persevere. Yes, that's where it's going. Stop mucking around, stitch it down. Sort of feels like it's a bit more balanced now with those two there and that there. I feel like we've got a bit of movement. Needle and thread. Sneaky little knot to hold thread to needle. Might do a second one because we're pulling through quite a lot of surfaces. Don't often do the second one. Got knot at the end. Yep. And we're away. So I might start with anchoring this. And if I focus just on the bridle lace first, that in turn will get the tatting. And then when all the bridle lace is nice and secure, I can just see what's happening with the tatting then. Maybe it needs a stitch or two more, maybe it doesn't. Ow. Now that this bridle lace has snuck onto the front here, there might be an opportunity to weave a little bit more in elsewhere to sort of tie the whole thing together a little more. So we will explore that. It's going to be a nightmare to wash this jacket. One needs to be very careful when she wears it and not get dirty. You're talking to a bit of a tom girl here, so we're going to see how that plays out. Now, coming up around the base of that. So that little itty bitty flower is secure. Now I'm going to come up in the centre of it, go through that little bead. I trust the manufacturer of this lace like not at all. Grandma used to use motifs of lace on some of her pieces, and then she'd come back through and she'd restitch all of the beads. She just would not trust that they were secure, because, you know, beads fall off the dress of the bride or the bridesmaids, whatever it was on. Mother of the bride, she used to do some of those dresses, and they weren't her beads, so, you know, but it was her reputation. So she'd sit there for hours restitching everything just to know that it was secure. Take your time, Corrine. You're catching. They're coming up through the centre of this little flower. Get those beads secure. Riveting viewing for you. I'm sure you're all stitching anyway. We're just hanging out. Be the newbies that are watching the screen. The rest of you are probably doing a load of washing with me yabbering in your ear. So there's a pin in there. That's what I do. I put my earbuds in and I've got all the girls talking to me while I'm doing housework. I washed the car the other day and I moved the car closer to the house. It was out on the lawn to be washed, and I couldn't quite pick up the reception, wireless reception. So I moved the car closer to the house so I could hear, I don't know who I was listening to, one of you girls, one of you fellow YouTubers. So I moved the car close to my house, and Gaz come out and he's looking at me, goes, what are you doing? What's wrong? Thinking that it was an issue with the lawn or the grass or the... I'm like, I can't hear. My iPods are not picking up the YouTube video that I'm listening to. He just rolled his eyes and walked back inside. It's like, oh my goodness. Well, you know how it is. You've got to wash your car with your mates. Makes it less of a task. Okay. So I'm pretty confident that that will stitch down. Okay, we've already started. Now, before I settle into more stitching, where else can we work a little bit of this lace? Let's have a look. So pretty. That's too much. Too much. Maybe it's too much. Oh, I like that bit. Where does it go? Isn't that gorgeous? See that? Gosh, it's massive. Like, where does it stop? So to be all the way around there, all the way around there, that'd be the base, then up through here, then across to there. Could trim it there to get rid of that. That would be gone. So to be like this swoosh. Should we cut it out and see what it looks like? Get rid of all the distractions of the other laces. Make a beautiful morsel. If I don't use it, I'm not too concerned. But I'm thinking I'm going to cut it out. I'll just do a rough cut at the moment. Let's get you back. If I don't use it, I might even add it to the Journal of Stitchery field notes, because it's got potential to be used there. I'll just go low there and grab that little sprig. Just don't need it as high, so we're going to snip there and then come back away. All right, now we're off again. It's going to be fine. We need it fine. So let's scoot down in here. Around the base of this big guy, because he's too much. Just making this jacket even more delicate to wash. Good idea, Corrine. Up there. Just head up to that corner for now. Oop, they're still attached. Okay. So here's our piece. Oh, yeah. I like it, guys. I know some of you would be thinking, I don't know. But I like it. It's very me. At the end of the day, I'm the one that's got to wear it. Let's just get a little bit of this excess tulle out of here. You can hear Fudge snoring. I was doing zoomies not long ago. How quickly he's back in bed and having a nap. Had his breakfast, run around like a crazy cat for about 10 minutes. Come back, had another little bit of breakfast. Went to the toilet and then he climbed back into bed. Like I tell you, the life of a cat at the McEwen Manor. All right. There's probably more I could nibble out of there, but that's a good start. That will become an element to lay there. I love it, guys. I really, really like it. It's just like another detail. It connects to Bunny as well. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pin it, and this will take ages to stitch, but that's all good. At least you guys know now. And there's little sequins in it. So I will toddle off and stitch that. Now the other thing is we need to revisit the front. Now that we've got, like, let's call this the jam that pulls it all together, the overlay that sort of makes it all connect. We need to revisit the front to see if there's spots where we should put a little to give a hint of what's coming on the back, to make it feel like this is all cohesive. And there's some little stitched areas there that could do with a little something. So we'll consider that stitched, At the moment, I think the only additional stitching I'll do is working those yellow dots in somewhere, and I might do them here. But that's probably it. I think my back is thick and luscious. Let's just have a look over here and see if there's an opportunity to work in something here. I did play around with some flowers that were left from this. I played around putting a branch in here to make that a flower, and it just didn't look right. It looked like it was a bit of an afterthought. Maybe there's something here that could be done to connect. See, hang on, let's get the bird in view. We need to look at it as a whole. I think we need to bring a little bit of white into here as well. So we've got white in our little bird up there. Let me just bring it down. See, we've got that white there, we've got the white there. So I have a thought that maybe we add a little extra something to the bird to tie in that white. It's very big. Do we just add you can hear the snoring. Oh my goodness. The fudge. So if that's gone, we've just got this branch. I think that. Just keep nibbling away at it and see what comes of it. I'm going to make that look like that's the end. I need that out of there. When I stitch it all down, I can tidy up the tulle a little more. And where there's a sudden end, like that, I can put a little flower there to make it look like, you know, that it's going somewhere. Sort of feel like I should stop it there. I'll just, if I don't use it, well, I've got plenty of morsels then, eh? And they're cut, ready to go. Probably won't be the right size for the next project, but you know how it is. It helps connect the white into the story. Yeah, I like that. Let's just trim this little guy and see if it works into the bird nest to try and connect everything. It's a bit big, I think. But I don't want to break that down anymore. I like that. It's sort of, that looked like a bullseye sitting there to me. So I felt like there could be a little bit more effort put into that front. It sort of looked like a boob sitting there too. I was like, oh my goodness, look at the position of that. There you go, I said it out aloud. I know you're all sniggering, but you know what I mean. I'll see if that needs a flower out here when it comes to connecting it. Here's another little bit. Maybe that's all I need. There's a deformed flower, so we'll cut him off. We'll tidy this up a little. See, this is a softer, more lineal little morsel, so maybe that's better for little bird. Just a little. I really enjoy piecing back together elements, collaging it all back into something. Fudgy snoring. Okay, let's just thin that right down. Let's have a look now. Oops. Let's see, how do we work this into here? Nope. I like that. Go in a completely different direction. When in doubt. Yep. Yeah, I like that. So that brings that lace back across. I have this little guy here. Maybe there's an opportunity to put this little scroll in amongst the fabric. Yep, like that. And then the little one that is a flower with the bit coming out. That guy. Let's grab him out again. He was the helpful little morsel from the back. Just doing a rough cut out here, guys. So now I feel like the jacket is gelling. The overlay of the next stage is all connecting. And I feel like that white fabric on that bird's wing now is connected as well. Like that was white, but not white enough. So I sort of feel that now I've got, maybe that is a bit that sits in there. So it looks like, yes, looks like that's all connected. Okay, I'm happy now. It sort of now feels like it's all meant to be together. There is a pocket in under there somewhere. That pocket is never going to be used because it is just absolutely crammed with all of these little elements for the little bird's nest. Oh, I love that. It's like a gorgeous brooch. It sits so nicely too when I wear it. It drapes. Just, everyone is like, oh, look at that. And then you're like, yeah, but look at the back. And as soon as I turn around, they're just like, oh, look at the rabbit. It's a showstopper, guys. Just say so myself. There we go. We've got a little bit of that white coming in through there. We've got the front now looks like it's cohesive. I do have a buttonhole here that needs to be dealt with. That's nearly coming off. Not that I'll ever button this up because the buttons don't reach. They do not make it. I might just do a little sneaky stitch there and tuck that down in, and then I can always pop another flower in that zone. See, that little guy's going to come off. We might do that next before I lose. And that's just brought that down. Or does that look a bit odd? Let me just get my needle and thread ready. I'm going to revisit that. These laces too, like, don't ever be afraid to pull out the watercolour paints or the Inktense pencils, and if you really want to make them merge into something you're doing, drop a little bit of colour on them. It really can, you know, pull it all together. I know I don't have an Inktense pencil that colour. Let's have another look at this little guy. You're in the way of my button. Maybe I stitch it first because I am going to lose that whole little piece. There we go. He was getting ready to jump. Okay, maybe I just tilted a fraction. Yeah, there we go. That'll get the flower, the leaf above the button. I'm going to just lift it. Just a bit there. And I'm also going to now trim just a little bit out of there. I don't want a heap of tulle flapping in the breeze. Sneak down into there, trim that out. So this is pretty much what I'll do now as I fasten the piece, is just slow down and have a look at every little area and decide whether something can be nibbled out just to finish off the final shaping. Could do with a flower there. That's like a dead end that looks like it needs something. So let's just now get my needle and thread out of the way and get that up into there. Yeah. Put a pin there. Pin there. Pin there. Yep. See, that feels very sharp. So just tuck that into there. That feels a bit odd there. The rest looks pretty good. Could probably nibble. Oh no, that's pretty good. Do we want to see that green? Yeah, we might. So I'm just going to scoot in here. There we go. Now I can see the green fabric. Okay. Now just some pins. And then I can stitch it down with lots of little invisible tacking stitches. Reinforce my beads. I do need a flower there too before I get too carried away. That there is breaking down. See that there? It's got all loose. It's too close. So we need a flower. Let's get one of these little, we need two, I think. Get this little guy. It's good when they're scattered out on the fabric and they're not connected to anything. Let's go up into the camera shot. You don't know what I'm talking about. There. See that? So where this has been cut off, it's weak there. So we're just going to fix that with a little flower that will allow me to stitch in there a little bit more. So we could do with a flower there and a flower there. It's got some little dead ends that let's thin this out a bit. Okay, this little guy. Gosh, I've used this piece so many times, this bridal piece. That's going to go there, just to finish that dead end off. And this guy will go on the other side. Okay. So he will be there and he will be there, just to make it all seem to be cohesive. Might bring that back a bit. It seems a bit too out there. I'm going to bring that closer in. I'll get away from that seam. Okay, I think we're there. That's worked well. And you know, it's helped disguise that pale pink fabric hexagon under there. I was just not a fan of it. It just was a bit of a flat colour. So I feel like the piece now has got a little bit of life in it. All right, now I think everything's pretty much pinned. So I just want to end it off. And then I can spin the jacket in my hand. It'll take a little while to stitch all this lace down, but it'll be worth it. I like that line I've got there too. So by the eye, I can see birdie, then this, and then it ends up down here at this little patch. So I do like that. Feels like it makes sense. And that felt like it was sitting out in the middle of nowhere too. It just was a bit unfinished feeling. So happy now. And the more bling I can have on, the better, I think. I'm not as blingy as Trini, who wears sequins, sequin pants, sequin shirts. If you don't know who I mean, she used to be a part of a duo that used to help ladies get their look for their body shape. Can't remember the other lady's name. They were huge, and now she's got a cosmetic line, and oh gosh, she's a clever. So she's always doing little videos explaining the logic behind clothing, fashion, makeup. Trini London, I think, is her brand. She often pops up in Australia promoting different things she's doing. And she wears sequins, a lot of sequins. But, you know, she's swanning around the streets of London. She can pull it off. I'd be swanning around the aisles of Woolworths in Harvey Bay. I don't think I can do it. I'd look like a galah. Oh, goodness. So to sneak a little bit of sparkle onto my jacket, happy girl. It's probably not for everyone, but I do wear a lot of those blouses that are like, they call them tunics, so multicoloured, bright colours, and there's often sequins and beads attached to them. After a few washes, all those sequins and beads are in the bottom of my washing machine, mind you. Excuse me. But I do enjoy a bit of sparkle. And I really enjoy mixing all these different pieces together to create something new. Old and new, bridal, vintage, whoosh it all together. Alrighty. Well, that's pretty much the plan now, is just to stitch all of these little pieces down so that they're not going to get damaged. I don't want to rush it because I'll end up doing big stitches where I should be taking my time and doing lots of little itty bitty stitches around the whole thing. And that way when I wear it, it's not just going to disintegrate on me, let alone washing it. Oh my goodness, that'll be a challenge. Be a gentle soak, lay flat and dry job. And to be honest, it's not going to get worn a lot because we just don't have a climate that you wear a lot of jackets. If anything, it'd just be for those few hours to get you to inside someone's house, you know, just to throw over. I definitely would not be sitting and eating in it because it's just too hot. And I run hot as it is. But to get me to the table, I could come swanning in with it, and then I'd be taking it off because it's just that type of climate. Yeah, I'll just meander around this and stitch it all down. Well, I don't know how long we've been hanging out. Time goes so quick. Oh my goodness. 48 minutes to figure all that out. I'll just finish this thread. Then I'll leave you all alone. And I'm going to sit this beside me on the couch. And later on, I will do a little stitch. So I'm going to call this project completed now, guys. Unless you see me in person swanning around with this, you may only see it every so often if it pops up as a start of another project. I do have some other shirts that I have put aside for such adventures, but at the moment, the little pink jacket is done. And she might appear in future episodes if we decide to do some more stitching into clothing. I can guarantee we will. Susanna's been working on a vest. She asked me if I wanted to do it too, but I can't imagine I'd ever wear a vest because that's another layer of fabric in a very warm climate. I'd never wear it. I love them. I'd never wear it. I'm better off doing a loose, open shirt that I can throw over a singlet and roll the sleeves up, you know, those types of. Just got a sequin there I'm stitching through while I'm here. Finish this off with a little knot. Okay, guys, I'm going to toddle off. And go and start my day. But there we go. Where's Bunny? Come on, let's have a quick visit to Bunny. Let's see if we can get that over without making a big mess. Roll him into camera. Hello, young fella. There we go. He's nestled in the foliage. Oh, I love it. All right, guys. I'm going to say goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. And, yeah. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Look after yourselves. Bye.